here for citizens' comments portion. Very good. Excellent. Who wants to go first?
I can. You want me to stand or
However you feel.
okay.
Please do.
First of all, hi, my name is Andrew Graff. I'm an attorney working with the ACLU on detainee representation out here. I'm with Nebraska Voices, a group dedicated to making their voices heard on certain issues. So the big thing that we've heard last week is that the county entered into a 287G agreement, which is essentially an agreement with federal immigration authorities which require cooperation between the police and the federal immigration authorities. We're just looking for more information on who made this agreement. Was there any input from the public? Was there a discussion at all? So those would be my questions.
Okay. As a board of commissioners, I don't ever recollect entering into any agreement with anybody. Nothing's come across our table that I'm aware of. If you do.
There's the only thing that I could think of could possibly be, and I don't know if it's a fact or not, there might be an MOU in case they have troubles. We got the acting sheriff right here, ask him.
Yeah, did you enter into an, please, yes, did you enter into an 287G agreement?
Yes, so that the law enforcement be able to work with us.
The immigration law enforcement?
Basically, it's so that we can work the information. We get someone arrested, we can enter the information and they can work back and forth. It's what should happen in every community.
Do you think that there could possibly be an issue with, documented or undocumented neighbors being afraid to use the police, if that's the case?
Well, no. It might be if they get arrested, then we process them to the jail, and then we basically just check and make sure that they're here legally. If they're not here legally, then ICE puts a detainer on them. It just accelerates the process of having to go make several phone calls and just and basically an MOU.
So did you do any discussion or input from the community before entering into it in agreement with immigration?
Because it involves law enforcement and being able to do my job as the sheriff. And I talked with Kevin about it, and he was on board, and he actually started the process, and I just finished the process. So, it's basically a normal agreement. We don't want to be a sanctuary city. We'll never be a sanctuary city. That's the problem that we have, is the sanctuary cities are not cooperating with ICE to deport people who are arrested and criminals. They've been arrested and accused, but they have to be checked to see if they're legal here legally.
But do you not see how that could potentially cause immigrant neighbors, even if they are legally here, if one of their family members isn't, just the mere interaction with law enforcement, do you see how that could potentially discourage them from using something which makes all of us safer, which is reporting crimes?
I'm not going to get a debate with you. We're here for public comments for the commissioners. I'm going to end this discussion now. I'm not going to debate why it was done. Well, the thing is if we have to work with ICE to find out if someone is legal or not. Whether we interact with them, we have to find that out. It's just that let me finish my statement. Let me finish my statement. Okay? I don't like being interrupted. So if we have to do it, whether we have the agreement or not. This agreement just makes it easier. So I'm not going to discuss with you philosophies and everything else. Okay, that's not what we're here for. We're here for you to comment to the commissioners about what's going on. Okay. Now you can make your comment.
For discussion, right?
Who did?
It could be asked for to be put on the agenda for discussion at a later time.
It sure could be. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be nothing in citizens' comments. No action can be taken by the board of commissioners. So it's just simply a dialogue back and forth. And if it were to be an agenda item, not always is there a decision being made, but citizens' comment is probably the appropriate place for this. Because I don't know that we're going to make So in regards to your question in this 287G agreement, so obviously our sheriff's office did enter into that agreement to be in cooperation with ICE and federal agents solely for the purpose of if there were to be somebody arrested for a crime brought to the detention center, then they would be allowed to check that person's status, whether they're a legal or an illegal immigrant to this country. And so that's why that MOU apparently was entered. To your question, I don't work with the sheriff's office. But hopefully if you are here legally, it doesn't strike fear in you to have law enforcement have that. That would just be my opinion, just my opinion alone. But anyway, if you're here legally, then I would hope that you wouldn't be fearful of law enforcement. But very good. Mr. Graff, did you have more questions?
Well, I think he was going to respond as well.
I'm in agreement with Burton over here, okay? We had a resolution over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, that we would not be a sanctuary city. And therefore, they do need to put a retainer on it, and if they determine that they need to put a retainer. We are not a sanctuary city. Burton is following the rules. So.
What, can I respond to that?
Yes.
So I think there's a middle ground though between striking a 287G agreement, which potentially can lead to federal McCook police participating in immigration rates. That is part of what can happen on a 287G agreement, and simply asking about immigration status, which we were already doing. So I think the 287G agreement, to me, seems like an escalation of a policy that really didn't need to be escalated. But yeah, those are my comments.
Okay, I will make a comment on that. The problem, what you're saying is one little minute deal. Law enforcement supports each other. If they need help, I'll help NSP. I'll help any agency. And you said McCook Police, wrong. The agreement's between the sheriff's office, Red Willow Sheriff's Office, not McCook Police. If I have to help McCook Police, I'll help them. That's what we do. We help each other. They are here. If they need help, I will help. We're not going to be raiding. Basically, the agreement is basically so that we can look up people without having to go through phone calls and phone calls and phone calls.
So no other cooperation is going to happen.
We cooperate as law enforcement. I don't care what your opinion is. I respect every citizen the same, whether they're from any country in the world. Here legally, I'll treat them the same. If someone's here illegally, my department will treat them properly. We'll treat them legally, and we find out they're supposed to be here. If they're not, they will be assessed out.
Okay.
That makes sense. It's not a thing that you're saying that we're going to go on raids. It's basically so I can look up information without having to go through several channels.
Well, what I mean is like that could potentially happen under a 287G agreement. Is that there could be that level of cooperation.
Same thing could happen with something the McCook Police Department does, our NSP does, our MOU says we'll help them. If they have a job to do, I'm going to help them. That's what we're supposed to do. To protect the citizens. We're here to serve the citizens. We're not here to serve certain groups or different groups. We're here to serve the citizens as a whole.
Okay.
I have one question, just one question for you. So bringing this up, are you, and maybe you answer this again, are you bringing it up as you are helping to represent those people, or have you had citizens in Red Willow County bring up the 287G?
This was brought to my attention through my work.
Okay, I just hadn't heard it, so I just was curious.
Yeah, I mean, this was something that I heard about late last week, so yeah,
totally fair.
Very new as well.
If it was any type of concern of our community, or if, anything like that, or if it was just strictly it was.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
So my name is Lori Sugar. I live here in town. First of all, I want to thank the Red Willow County Commissioners for having a public forum portion for people to come and talk. Not all governmental entities have that, and it just shows that You are willing to listen to people and to be transparent. So thank you for that. I am here too about this 287G agreement. From what I understand, the chain of command is the Red Willow County Commissioners. You guys sign off on everything. You guys know what's going on. My concern is I never heard about the county signing this agreement, never heard about the memorandum of understanding being signed, and so I'm just here to find out why didn't it go through you guys first and then be released to the public saying this is what we're doing. That's all I have. Thank you.
You want me to address that?
You sure can, if you'd like.
Okay. The thing is, did you know I have an MOU with, different counties around here?
Pardon me?
Do you know I have an MOU with Hitchcock County?
Yeah, for like jail
You-
transportation. and
You've
stuff
read
like
those and looked at them?
that. No, I have not.
Okay, so did the commissioners sign off on those? Did they know about them?
I don't
They
know.
didn't come through that.
I'm
It's the same
assuming they
thing.
know that you do, jail transportation among other county
But
jails.
there's a whole lot more than that. But you say but do you know I had a written agreement with them also?
I'm assuming you would have.
Okay, you're assuming you didn't know that I had those. Why would we have to bring this one to you, the commissioners, for approval? We didn't have all the others.
Well, I would say we are aware of the MOUs with the other counties, but I, as a commissioner, did not know anything. This is the first I ever heard about the 287G. But I do know about the MOUs. That did come.
But you know about them. Were you on the part of setting them up?
No.
After we sign them, we bring them to you.
Court approval, on the MOUs with the other counties, yeah. But I didn't know. I mean, this thing is, I don't know. It's part of the job is to be, I mean, you're done right.
But we sign an MOU with NSP. I mean, that didn't come before the commissioners.
It also goes along with our sanctuary city resolution that we passed 2 years
Correct.
ago. So what we're talking about here, we approved that. We didn't never knew it was called the 287G, but.
This basically is for access to the system,
Exactly.
so that we can look it up. And same thing, we have an agreement to use the mock system. Same thing for that. We have agreement for the mock system. We have agreement for all the softwares. We've got an agreement to do the same thing. It's not everything has to come through the commissioners and the operation of the sheriff's office. They approve the budget, but the sheriff is in charge of the sheriff's office. Totally. They can't tell me what to do or how to run the office. They can control my budget. Okay.
He's
It's-
right, true, he's
it's-
right. For every county office, it's the official's office.
They can't tell her what to do, Penny what to do. They can recommend, but they can't control us. We're controlled by the people. That's what it's about. The people are able to elect a person that they want to be in charge. The person that can do what the people will. Not the commissioners. 3 people don't control it. The people do. Same thing, if they don't do what the people want, that's what election's for. The people speak. And the thing is the people want the sheriff's office run a certain way, they'll hire someone by electing them. Okay. The commissioners control the budget, but they can't tell an elected official, we're the same authority. They get their authority from the people. I get my authority from the people. My authority also includes the power of arrest to remove people's constitutional rights. There's a lot of responsibility there. So it's important who you elect as your election coming up. I'm not going to campaign here. I'm not running. So basically, it's important who you elect.
I'm Sue Chipman, and I'm also a resident of Red Willow County. One thing I feel like there was not transparency in the sheriff's department to let the citizens of Red Willow County to make us aware of this agreement, what the impact of the agreement could be. And to me, in order for me to trust my officials, I need to know that you're being transparent and I can understand the things that are happening. One other question too I wondered is, from what I can understand, there's training for the agents or deputies. And will you be able to allow the staff to go for that training?
I believe it's online. It's just how to use the software. We went through the same training when we got signed up for NCIC. We had the same assigned agreement with the feds on the NCIC system to use their. Same thing with using Nebraska NCIC system for looking up criminal records. Same thing. Did you know about those agreements?
I do.
You do? You read them and looked at them?
I have a son that
But we
That worked.
have to have that agreement. You know they have to go to training for that?
I understand.
Okay, that thing is, this is just another software that is used to access into the system that makes it easier to do our job. We're supposed to be efficient.
And my last question is, I understand that there's reimbursement for these. It could be up to $100,000 for a vehicle for each of the officers. There is reimbursement for the hours that they spent.
If they go for training.
Well-
So we haven't explored all that as far as we're not planning on doing that part of it. It's just like we'll do what's necessary to use the system.
Because I wondered if that had affected the reason to go ahead with this procedure, because you would receive these funds, and then I wondered what happens to the funds that were allocated by the sheriff's department for the training of your officers and so forth if you receive
This
this.
is just above and beyond what, if they require certain training, then they want to reimburse, so there is no impact to the budget for normal training. That's the reason they have that in there, is so that if something comes up, that's one thing you need to know about me, is I'll never enter an agreement to receive funds from federal, because federal funds have strings.
Yes, they do.
And you gotta be careful about those strings, because they end up controlling me to what I can't do to people's will. So the strings have to be watched very carefully on that. And both retired Sheriff Darling and myself totally agree. That's why we got along so well. It's because we think alike and do things alike. We want to serve the people. So being able to work with the federal agents is important, but you got to watch those strings so they're not getting control of your department.
So
I'm very big on that part, but I wouldn't take certain federal funds because they have too many strings attached to it.
okay, thank you.
If there's nobody else, that wants to speak, sir?
Yeah, Marty, come on. McCook Lifer. Under the consent agenda, approve a letter of support to City of McCook. Could a memorandum of understanding been in a consent agenda at some time, and you pass the consent agenda? What's the letter of support? That's what, it's hard to not know what's going on with the consent agenda.
Right. Yeah, no, and the consent agenda, some of the items, I mean, we can definitely move from the consent to the agenda itself that way. So when I usually go through the consent agenda items, we'll kind of discuss what they're for. I mean, if you're interested, we can let you know what this letter is for.
I guess my point was, could that memorandum be in a consent agenda?
That's a good question. If it was put on the consent agenda, obviously it's kind of like a contract.
Yes.
More than likely, I'm going to pull that item off the consent agenda and table it until our county attorney can look at it. So if it's controversial like that, I'm not going to approve it on the consent agenda.
And I'm not saying, Randy, I'm not saying that this letter of support is in any way controversial, but when it goes through the consent agenda, typically you're not going to know what it is until the media asks questions or whatever. That's my point.
Marty, I think it's a valid point.
Yeah.
If it's something that personally, I think it needs more discussion. I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna pull it off the consent agenda.
Sure.
And pull it over to the next meeting.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I look at it.
But Yep. Yeah, 21 years with the city, a lot of it sitting through meetings just like this with the council. You're privy to that information ahead of time. You know what it is and can be comfortable voting for it on the consent agenda because we know what it is. But in this case, it will be, if it's not pulled, what did we approve? That's my point. It's not that particular city, McCook. It's just in general. So I'll shut up.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I know with the city council, the city and both the schools use Square Data that they download all of the documents. With the county, it is done differently. You just see the agenda and you would have to come to Penny would probably give you that information if you came for it. It's just not standard on the website necessarily.
That all the documents will be scanned in and then made public for the meeting.
Yes, it's just done differently. It's Square Data. If you look at the city, they have like city council, all of their meetings use Square Data where their agenda has all of the pieces for
We have a new website coming out.
Mhm.
It was supposed to come out last week, and with election, I just could not do it. So it's going to roll out after election. And I've only had a little bit of training on it, but I believe that option is on this new website system.
But the information, if someone looks at the minutes, that information is available publicly. If they saw that and said, what is that? They could come to your office and get that. So it would, yes.
Very good. We'll go ahead if we're done with the comments, citizens comments portion, to keep the meeting rolling along. Hopefully you guys got to speak if you wanted to.
Just in your way.
That's great.
Fair enough. Everybody good? Okay. I'll go ahead and recess the Board of Commissioners meeting at 9:23.
I'm gonna call the Board of Equalization meeting to order at 9:23. All the members of the Board of Equalization are present. The Open Meeting Act is on the south wall of the Commissioners room. If anybody wants to look at that. Looks like we have Lori Stevens from the Assessor's Office. We have a tax roll correction. Hopefully there's not too many of them.
Not today.
Not today.
No one. Just on the personal property correction. There was an item that was,
Just the one?
yeah, just one
Okay.
that was assessed in our county.
Where's the file located?
County,
Right. Okay.
that's being assessed there.
Okay. So,
Unfortunately, they didn't look at their schedule, because
So did they paid this, so we gotta refund that?
they haven't paid it yet.
They have not. Okay.
So they were paying taxes to Furnace County.
So they have,
On this item,
it looks like we assessed them.
it's a leasing company, so they send everybody to us.
And it was supposed to be, the revenue was supposed to be coming to Red Willow instead of
No,
Furnace. It was
it's
supposed to be going, but we were receiving it.
Not all of it.
We would receive it, but they haven't paid the taxes yet.
Part of it would, well,
Okay.
let me ask you this. The original amount assessed was 5,106. They should have been 3,230. So we're actually deducting 1,876 from that. So they're gonna owe $3,230.74.
Yeah.
This is, a correction number 5. And so, we are actually deducting $1,876.14 from this assessment. And like Roy said, they haven't paid it yet. So they will owe us $3,230.74. That's all right, Roy. Okay.
What year was that, though?
It's, this year.
Because it hasn't been paid yet, so.
Right.
That's good that you catch that before.
Yeah. It'd be nice if they taught it sooner when we look at their schedules, but.
Yeah, that's all you have. Cool. Okay, everybody's had a chance to look at this. I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve this tax roll correction simply because it's part of the assessment of Willow County. And so the correct, like I said, this hasn't been paid yet, so I'm gonna approve the deduction of $1,876.14 from what they will owe on their 26 taxes. I need a motion to approve number 5.
I'll make a motion to approve number 5.
Thank you, Charles. Second.
And I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
That's it.
Where's that?
Oh, I always thought you could do that. I don't worry about that.
You have to tell me to write 2 times that on this one. Okay. All right.
Thank you,
That's
Laura.
good. Thank you.
That takes care of that. We also have a motor vehicle exemption from Crystal Dacker, County Treasurer.
I have 2 new purchase motor vehicles for St. Pat Catholic
Okay.
Church.
And St. Pat's is a nonprofit that we've approved prior. It has been for many, many years. They purchased 2 2025 model vans. So we are simply be looking at for them not to have to pay a tax on these if they're a nonprofit. St. Patrick's Catholic Church here in Willow. We had a chance to look at that. That's pretty much a no-brainer. So I would ask for a motion to approve these 2 motor vehicle exemptions for St. Patrick's Catholic Church here in Willow. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor of granting these exemptions, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, and Crystal, that'll be
That's it.
okay, thank you, Crystal. And that's all we have to do with board equalization, and I will adjourn the board equalization meeting at 9:29.
And I'll reconvene the Board of Commissioners meeting at 9:29. First item on the agenda is a request for burial funds. This is a financial affidavit as means to determine whether an individual qualifies for county burial funds. Applicant must submit the complete affidavit to the Red Willow County Clerk. The County Board of Commissioners will review before approval is given. No application will be approved when the financial affidavit indicates that the deceased or his or her immediate family has the resources to pay for the services. If approved, payment for services provided will be limited to $1,200 for cremation only and burials in Red Willow County. This application was received by Herman Jones Funeral Chapel here in McCook. The decedent has no immediate family in the area, is not a veteran, no life insurance. Is that out of the general fund? I don't remember what we budgeted, if anything.
Budgeted
2.
Two.
Yeah, like before.
Now, I will say that just not saying that, we've had a couple come through and we've denied the request.
We appreciate it.
Mainly because they have family and that take care of it for them. You're saying that according to that, there is nobody.
It doesn't appear that there's any family. Well, immediate family members do exist in Washington state that have estranged from the decedent for years and refuse to take part of the funeral process financially or legally.
Well, you gotta, you can't just leave them with funeral home. I make a motion to approve the $1,200 expenditure.
Did you say that he's already been cremated?
I assume so. He passed on the 10th of April. I think that from talking to some of the other funeral home directors, it's just, they have unclaimed, people.
And they, just for public knowledge, the expenses are a lot more than what they actually asked for. They asked for $1,200, and that's what we approved, was only $1,200. We don't approve the whole bill.
Right.
Just that limited amount. And that's generally the same amount everyone needs to come in, is $1,200. So, the funeral home still has to pay the difference. Just tell them.
It was $3,600.
Yeah. Charles is second.
Okay. So we did budget $3,600 for the year. I have a motion from Dean and a second from Fritchie to approve the financial affidavit for a county burial in the amount of $1,200 to Herman Jones Funeral Chapel here in McCook. If there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. I will, come budget season, we'll probably have to, because I know that we've had other requests in the past for this with similar circumstances, so I know that we might be getting a lot more requests for that in the future. So we'll have to remember that budget time.
Yeah, because then you gotta decide how you decide who gets it and who doesn't.
I know the last two, I think that we received, we denied them.
Simply because they have family members responsible for it.
Was that good?
Taking the body in possession.
All right, next on the agenda, we're a little ahead. I'm surprised because we had a big citizens comments section today. That's good. That's good. Next on the agenda at 9:45 is Emma DeGraff and Bill Henderson from Frenchman Valley Co-op. I don't believe they're present yet, so we can, Amanda's here in the amount of, we got 10 minutes. We can go ahead and go through the consent agenda. It's a pretty short one. Item number 1 is approved minutes from the previous Board of Commissioners and Board of Equalization meetings. Item number 2 is approved accounts payable and payroll claims in the amount of $522,788.72. And item number 3 is approved health department school nurse contract with Southwest Public Schools. And item number 4 is approved letter of support to the city of McCook.
We get the contract for Southwest.
Say again?
I want to see Southwest.
So this is a renewal of what they did last time.
Nothing changed.
My understanding is the only thing that they said they changed is the rates. I think they're going to increase their rates of what they're going to receive for those services.
What mileage reimbursement, is that changing?
It is the mileage change.
It's 72.5 cents, which is what it should be now. You guys, for information, we were approached by Southwest Public Schools to furnish a school nurse. So we're using the Willow County Health Department, and they are reimbursing us our cost. So it's sort of like cost of taxpayers in the county. So like I said, they're paying us $38 an hour, and they're also paying us 72.5 cents per mile for mileage. This last year was the only year we did this, and it seemed to be working quite well. It's a nice service for Southwest Public Schools. They didn't have a school nurse. And it's on site about 1 to 2 days per week. So,
And it actually, the rate that they're paying is above what the nurse's salary is, so it's actually
more. You're right.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where this is a renewal, do you feel like we need to have Paul Wood look at that too?
He approved the original contract. The only thing they changed is the amount. So I don't think so.
Do you have the original contract just to make sure and then whether you're doing anything that changed?
I don't have it in front of me now.
Do you want me to get it?
You have it? You can get it. Well, Crystal runs up and gets the original contract just to cross-reference the two to make sure there's no other changes besides the amount of mileage being paid. We'll go ahead and go through the letter of support for the city of McCook. The letter reads, "To whom it may concern, on behalf of the Red Willow County Board of Commissioners, we are pleased to offer our strong support for the city of McCook in their application to propose designation of Census Tract 9633 as a federal opportunity zone. The city of McCook serves as a regional hub for Southwest Nebraska, providing critical services, employment opportunities, and the economic activity that benefit not only Red Willow County, but the surrounding region. Designation of this census tract as an opportunity zone would provide a valuable tool to attract private investment, encourage business expansion, and stimulate long-term economic growth in our community. Red Willow County has long recognized the importance of strategic development initiatives that promote workforce housing, infrastructure improvements, and business development. The opportunity zone designation would complement ongoing local and regional efforts by incentivizing investment in underutilized areas and supporting projects that align with our shared goals for sustainable growth and community vitality. We fully support this application and believe that the designation will enhance McCook's ability to complete the investment, create jobs, and improve quality of life for residents throughout the county."
Amanda, what part of town is this? What part?
Yes,
I know we talked about this.
So tract 9633 extends from the central business district, so
Okay.
around Norris up here, and then it extends clear to the north up to Road 719, out to the old Republican Valley High School, and then follows the Republican River kind of basin back up to that section. So there's a lot of little jogs in there, since these tracks are kind of odd, but it encapsulates some pretty important parts of McCook and Red Willow County as far as our economy, with the business park, the airport, we said Norris, a lot of highway, business, commercial property, and then opportunities in agriculturally zoned areas as well.
This study, based on income of folks, to see if we qualify for certain grants, because there's certain grants that we can't get, and if that opportunity area has too high an income. Can I say that quite right?
Yeah, so the federal government looked at, so the opportunity zones were originally introduced from the 2017, I think it was the jobs and, I can't quite remember what the act was under Donald Trump, but it was enforced under that, and then under the One Big Beautiful Bill, it was kind of reinvigorated and redone. So tracts that have a specific poverty rate based upon the census become eligible, and that happens to be our eligible tract with how they kind of tighten down with the requirements as far as the poverty rate. So in the state of Nebraska, there's about 112
tracks that are eligible based on the allowable criteria, but the governor is only going to recommend to the federal government that 28 of those tracks are eligible. So that's what we're asking for your support on. We're submitting an application to try to get that track designated. They have also lessened some of the thresholds as far as on the private investment side, some of the criteria that they have to meet. So we believe that it will be easier for people to invest in rural communities that qualify. Previously, there was no tracking mechanism or anything. So when I contacted the state to try to understand, like, how have communities used this or where have they seen success, unfortunately, they don't have any of those metrics to share with us. Yeah. But there is new criteria under the One Big Beautiful bill to now require tracking mechanisms for states so that we can see in the future what the impact is locally and as a state.
If we're approved, it would make, we would qualify for some pretty nice funding, maybe for certain projects. I know we looked at projects.
Possibly, yeah. The nice thing about this is it really, what it does is it encourages private investment. So if somebody has capital gains that they're trying to defer, they can put those funds into what's called an opportunity fund, and then they use their opportunity fund to make investments in the community. And it's kind of a tax defer process for them. That's again why we aren't as familiar with maybe how it's been utilized, because a lot of it takes side on the private side of things. So somebody would be working with their financial advisor to set up an opportunity fund, but they may call the city of McCook or the county or the EDC and say, what do you have within your designated opportunity zone tract that we could invest in? And that's where we can play a role.
This could be businesses, could be housing.
Yep.
Either. Okay. Right.
Good. I'm just on standby waiting for Crystal to give us the 2025-2026 contract just to compare the two.
So were you laughing about the change of venue?
No, usually when I come in here, I'm confronted by a room full of alleged criminals. I'm not disappointed today. That's the sequence. Howdy. How are you? Good, and you?
Got it. Thank you.
From your office. I wondered what you could have. I thought it, but I'm glad you did the running. That's true.
I just wanted to see if you found it. Well, not quite. I'm still looking.
There they are. Right.
So the only change to the two documents is the 2025 to 2026 document listed 70 cents per mile for mileage expense. The 2026-2027 document now lists 0.725 cents per mile. The actual hourly rate has stayed the same at $38 per hour. And the only difference is the contract for the 2026-2027 is to begin May 1st of 2026 and continue to or on or about April 30th of 2027. Everything else is the same between the two contracts. Let's see here.
It's all right with me.
Kind of thinking I need to bring you to the radio station tomorrow, Amanda. I'm gonna have to explain this 9633 census tract.
We're gonna keep helping that.
All right. Do you gentlemen want to look at anything else? Would you like to compare the contracts? Are you good with what I read and what I found? If so, if you're agreeable to it, I would entertain a motion and a second to approve all 4 consent agenda items.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 4.
I'll second it.
I got a motion from Fritchie and a second from Dean to approve consent agenda items 1, 2, 3, and 4. If there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
We're almost right on time.
Sign that letter of support. I guess I didn't get you the top one, but the bottom copy is the school contract. You just want this sheet signed, the overall. That's fine. Okay. Sign the on payroll.
Well, this is the summary.
A little summary, so
This gets signed.
He started it.
Yeah.
Nothing needs signed on our contract then.
Well, last time you did, just because the board is supposed to.
Approve it.
Yeah, it's already been signed.
If you would, just sign there, guys, on that contract for the health department we did last year. Yep. If you want, that's for accounts payable and payroll things. All right. And then Amanda, do you want a photocopy of that?
Yeah, if you guys could just email me that and then you can keep the original for your records.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up here on the agenda, we're running a little bit behind now. Is Emma DeGraff. Am I pronouncing your name correct?
DeGrasse, but yes.
Well, how is it?
DeGrasse.
Okay.
Got S's instead of F's?
Yes.
All right.
And then Bill Henderson.
Yes, sir.
All right. Excellent. You folks are here with Frensham Valley in representation of Frensham Valley Co-op.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Excellent. So what can we do for you today?
Well, so I've been the vice president of energy for 4 years now at Frensham Valley. When I took the position, I know there was maybe some challenges with the way you guys were doing your billing and contracting. I think they were kind of mingling the city with the county. And so I think, and this happened just, I think, April of 22. I started June 2022. And so we billed you guys a price like today, you know. The contract had expired because of the gallons that were contracted had been used all up. And so you guys were getting charged what a normal pump price was instead of your contract price. And there was some misunderstanding or because we had a new salesperson at that time, and he didn't understand how Mark Free, which was the original salesperson down here, knew how to find all your information and build you guys a contract correctly. So we went through a process of trying to reconcile all that we did. And then for the last couple of years, I've been trying to find a way for our division and our co-op to be able to get back to a relationship of working with you guys again. One of the things I've introduced is we have a municipality discount. That's just a basic blanket municipality discount at our pumps, and that starts at 15 cents. And then it is a volume rated, is rateable by volume, how much you use based per month, and then that can increase to a maximum of 20 cents. And we do this in kind of recognition of working with our local municipalities, trying to find ways to create affordability for the municipality and also the taxpayers. We're more or less what I would like to accomplish today is how do we get into a situation where we can kind of, figure out what we can do going forward. And obviously we offer tank wagon deliveries out, just bulk fuels and oils and all those other things. So, my goal is to try to see how can we build a relationship back with the county.
So I believe our sheriff's office, you guys fill up at Frenchman Valley, I believe. I don't know, are we receiving that disc? Does it come up? Do we know if it's pump price or if it's?
I really haven't looked at that close. I assumed we were, I just.
Well, I think, so Kylie Rice was our salesperson before, and she was kind of working on the process, but it seemed like, I don't know how far she got with it. But we can go through and we can adjust everything to that. What we like is to have some type of recognition. So we have a form that just simply says you recognize that this is what we're doing. There's no obligation for a municipality to fulfill a certain amount of gallon amounts to get to 15 cents. We kind of look at it as a partnering with our, whether it's county, state, city entities. So with that, we would just try to figure out if we do have that, and if not, we just get all that kind of stuff signed up. It also helps encourage you guys to use us at our stations, because of us being a cooperative, we're a member owned by farmers and ranchers in the area. So it's kind of that partnering between the agricultural community and also those municipalities.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So do you, can you combine that along with like what the road and bridge does? If they do bulk gas through that, or can that be worked?
Yeah. We have a special pricing for the municipalities, whether it's bulk oil, bulk fuel on-site delivery, or buying it or purchasing it at the pump. So we can go over all of those things at a later time if you would like.
I think what Burton's asking you is, are you going to the roads department, the health department, the sheriff department,
Yes.
anything to meet the goal, the gallonage?
Yes. Yeah, we would.
Put it together. That was his asking, Burton.
Yeah, your historical gallons point that you will get to 20 cents.
Okay.
I mean, you guys consume plenty.
So I actually, that's one thing I really hadn't looked at since I've kind of taken over the last 15 days. Has it been, have you been applying the discount at the pump?
I would have to check. Because I don't know if we have a signed
It doesn't, the
acknowledgement.
discount doesn't happen at the pump. The discount happens when they send the bill.
Okay.
And I do know that happens because Deb has to match the gallons.
That's right.
Cannot
Okay.
match
She did
the
mention
price
that.
because it's
Because the price
two
is
separate things. And so when you get the price on the ticket from the pump, it's not the same as what you get billed.
Correct.
Because there is a 20-cent
Correct.
difference. So she has to match the gallons that it is not.
I just kind of assumed it was going on because where I came from, we had that agreement all the time with co-ops because it's a good partnership between the community and the government, so.
Bill, I think in the past we had a contracted price. We didn't get a discount. We contracted for a year's period.
Correct.
Regardless of how much we used.
Correct.
And what happened then was we got billed pump price.
Correct.
Instead of the discount, and we fought for a long time.
Yep.
So are you still gonna offer us a contract?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so the contract is a whole nother mechanism that, the two I can't combine the two together.
Right.
But when you guys contract, you would contract at a discounted rate already.
Right.
So it would be built in. And the nice thing about our new system, we now use a system called Intevicon. It's something that we put in about 2.5 years. We can actually go in and we can build a contract directly for you inside of Intevicon outside of our accounting system, and then then we can report to you. We can show you how all that works. I know you discussed how that receipt you get at the pump, and then you get billed, and all of a sudden you're trying to reconcile your paperwork and whatnot. We have a way of working with another piece of what we do to where we can just send you a report. It could be a CSV file, it could be PDF or Excel, however you want the format, and we could try to work where we can get that to where we can make that a little more streamlined for you guys.
So the contract would be for any county vehicles and road, all those things.
Yeah, and we would include you guys, we would include the county as a whole. We just look at you as one entity. I know you like to have, I believe you have an account for the sheriffs, and you have an account for the fairgrounds, and you have an account, and I get all that, but we would, when it comes to the pricing mechanism, it would just be one whole piece is how we would look at it.
And we'd also have to discuss the particulars of the contract, because where we got in trouble, if I understand and recollect correctly, is we were, like you said, we're kind of like a share with the city, and the city could use so many gallons and the county could use so many gallons, and then we had billing that was, the clerk had to submit things like, well, was this county or was this city who used these gallons? And it turned into a mess because we were under, this was just when, like in 22, when it was just one of those things that when our contract ran out, we thought we were still under contract, and then it was for the agreed upon contract price, but that was during the time when COVID hit and the prices skyrocketed. And then we had issues because the clerk's office was receiving bills that was for pump price, and we thought it should have been for the contract price. And so that's where the disconnect happened. I mean, I know I visited possibly with you, I don't recollect, but somebody in Imperial I was trying to get a hold of to try to rectify the situation. Currently, we don't have, besides the sheriff's office, fairgrounds, household hazardous waste, we have a couple county pickups that run on gas. And then Commissioner Fritchie has a 1,000-gallon underground tank that's currently being filled by Mittens. And so I guess we want to, so the contract that you're proposing would be obviously something we can cover at a later date, but it would be something where it wouldn't be for the gallons, it would just be a contract that we would receive the 15 cents off or the 20 cents off if we went over our gallon minimum.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then if we wanted to actually get a fixed price contract, which is what you guys had in the past, we can easily do that too down the road. I wouldn't say right now with everything going on. I think if your guess is better than
yeah,
maybe you can find out what we should do.
Right.
If they think all you're gonna do is you're gonna sign a contract for the 10,000 gallons, for instance, and at today's price, I don't think we want that.
Correct.
Not right now, but in the future, I think we would do, that's what we used to do.
Yep. And I would encourage, there are certain times of the year, no matter what's going on in the world with geopolitical issues, there are certain times of the year that are conducive for contracting.
Yeah.
There's also some of my customers I worked with in previous co-ops where we would go in and we would do what we called layering. So maybe we would purchase a quarter and maybe 50% of a quarter and look at different opportunities for that. And that's where my expertise comes in. So I'll make sure you guys have my contact information when it comes to that kind of stuff. But there's a lot more options than what you guys were doing before, because I think before it was pretty much, here's a number, and you guys are going to go through 70,000 gallons of fuel collectively between the city and county. You guys signed it Frenchman signed it, and boom, you went. And I know what I understood from that previous situation is Ken Davis only took the county gallons, because when he ran a report, I think it was like 33,000 gallons, so they only contracted 33 when it should have contracted 76,000. And then the city ate up a bunch of those gallons.
It was
Yes.
It was a mess.
But we have all of that kind of stuff situated now, and
Do you have a contract with the city currently?
no, we don't. Well, now we do have the discount is running with the city, and I would encourage us to keep things separate, just for clarity.
That would be.
Yeah,
We
so-
have an opportunity with them here in the fall to get some options, so I'm working to move forward and reconcile with that as well.
So in our motor grader shops, Bartley and Danbury, we are with the Danbury shop is with Decatur County Co-op that's local. Just the pumps are down there, right? We don't have underground storage or above ground. And then you're with Ag Valley.
Ag Valley, because we've got their pumps right there in Bartley, and we also got them in Genoa, and that's where our graders are at.
Absolutely, I encourage. I'm a long-standing person in the cooperative system, and I always encourage that cooperative relationship. And I would never want to impede on another co-op, unless, of course, you guys had taken issue with the co-op and you needed us to kind of help out in that situation. We don't, but at the end of the day, I always encourage the cooperative spirit and working with the cooperative as you guys have them already kind of plugged in there, so I'm okay with that.
And my shop is actually utilizing you guys for grease and oil. Is Kylie no longer with you folks?
No.
I'm the new sales representative.
Okay, good, because I have her saved in my phone, so if we need to call.
Okay, yeah, I can give you.
Do you have
it's
a
the same
contact
phone
or card?
number. Yes, sir, but it's the same phone number,
Oh.
but I'll at least get that card switched over to
Yeah.
you, so.
Okay, excellent. Sounds great. Yeah, let's, I think our gas situation, I'm not speaking for the board. I mean, you guys chime in. I think our gas situation is fine, with, doing that where we could get, a discounted rate there per gallon. I think that Commissioner Fritchie, I don't know if your thoughts are, I guess we kind of want to see where Mitten stacks up to Frenchman Valley.
Right.
And you guys have a delivery truck that you guys could refill that tank. Okay.
Yeah, we would encourage any municipalities when they have some of these bulk tanks. I'd like to be able to put a monitor on it so we can do more predictive delivery processes. We would obviously we could set a deal where we contact you first, we call it with a key pull status, and more or less we can just put it in with the rest of our stuff. So the whole idea with everything that I've built with our price structure is to create efficiency. We all know efficiency is how you can drive down your costs. And so for us, instead of like holding all that back, what we're trying to do is kind of share that with some of our partners when it comes to helping your guys' cost savings, especially our municipalities, because we know you guys have budgets that you have to adhere to. So we just want to try to work with you on that.
So, do we need to do an agreement for the commissioners, or, because I'd really like to do the agreement with the discount.
What we could do is if we just get an email address, and I can send it to one, and then they can go out, or Emma can send it, and we could just disperse the paper that gets signed, and you can just sign it, and there's really no obligation to buy to get the 15 cents.
Right.
The obligation becomes the 20 cents. And like I said, you guys would easily do that if you bring your business to the co-op here locally. But we can just get you an email that it's just more you acknowledging, hey, we understand this is what we're going to get. We say perfect. We get all your cards set up inside of our system to automatically do the 15 cent. And then it'll come through on the statement. So, and if there's ever anything you need from us as far as information or data, CSV files, Excel files, and stuff, just let us know how you want it. We can send you sample reporting. And then if you want to tweak it by columns, rows, the dates, all that stuff, let us know. Once we get it kind of, set in gear, we'll stick it in overdrive and let her just walk down the road.
So the discount will stay regardless if there's a contract signed or not? Is that because what they currently get, it will stay regardless of the contract? Or is that
The discount is for what I would call cash.
Okay.
In this environment, we say cash price, it's a cash price discount. when you do the contract will, when we throw that contract report in front of you guys, they don't already have it built in. So for instance, like today, $5 diesel, I mean, it sounds horrible to say that, but $5 clear diesel, we would automatically build that 15 cents in. If we were to contract diesel, it'd be $4.85. Or in this situation, probably $4.80 because of 20 cents. The other thing I would ask for is, this brings my memory up on this. We also would need the forms to be able to make sure that we are not taxing you, that we draw those taxes back out. So we'll want to make sure we have all that stuff on file, because then I can actually go in and set it up to pull back the taxes on those statements also, and you get reimbursed for all that monthly on your statements.
So speaking for the sheriff's office, if you can go ahead and do the receipt deal, I know Deb would really appreciate that at the sheriff's office. So it equals when it gets sent. I know every month she gets very frustrated with that, having to look at gallons, and sometimes everybody gets almost the same amount of gallons. So then you guys go look at the dates and all that.
And we can do, so with this new system, I can actually do reporting by unit. Every unit obviously has an identifying card. And so we can match that up to where if you want it broke out by unit, if you want a weekly statement, it takes about 5 minutes to pull the CVS file, and I can send data to you weekly. That's not a problem. And so once again, however you guys need the information to make your job easier, just let us know and we will work with you to try to get that accomplished.
Bill, can you give me just a rough idea? What is the break point to get to 20 cents? How many gallons?
I believe it's 2,500 a month.
It's by the month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which,
Sure, we get that.
well, like I said, the counties in the city were over almost 80,000 a year collectively.
With that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't say we did 2,400 one month, then we're back to 15% the next month.
No, it would be
Okay.
it'd be a cumulative scale.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be able to see that, because there's certain times of the year, like for instance,
Yeah.
if it's a heavy snow season,
Yeah.
you guys are gonna, or there's variables involved. Our goal is just to try to make this as easy as possible for you guys.
All right. Good enough. Thank you.
Excellent. And yeah, let's, we definitely probably want to look at this before budget season. Let's see, we'll kind of, start doing this in mid-May. Usually we don't get hot and heavy till June 1st, or June.
We're starting May.
And then Emma, your phone number is 308-414-1628. Sound right? Okay. Excellent. We just need it. No, excellent. We appreciate you guys stopping in, and let's get together. Let's look at this and let's see. I think that the gasoline side is a good deal. The diesel, we'll kind of have to see Commissioner Fritchie. He'll have to decide what he wants to do with his underground tank.
Sure.
And maybe just, compare apples to apples and see what Mittens is charging versus you guys to deliver it. And that'll probably be the determining factor of who gets the business, probably.
That's fine. We understand you guys have a budget you try to adhere to, so we're really okay with that.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Appreciate you guys stopping by and introducing, because otherwise I would have been calling the wrong person. Well, I wouldn't have. I've just been confused when you answered. So I've been like, who is this? So anyway, but yeah, we're still getting oil for our motor graders through you guys, and grease and that stuff too. So
we appreciate it.
Yep. No, we appreciate you, and we don't go through it as quickly as our drums. We don't have a tote system we do for DEF, but just not for oil. Yeah. So very good. We'll look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Next up on the agenda is Paul Wood, the county attorney memo regarding Countryman contract. This is for
I don't think he's actually going to
Be here. No. So this was in regards to last meeting, we tabled the Countryman contract, just to have it reviewed. Oh, by the way, Rhea, were you here in regards to the Southwest School? Okay, we approved that already.
Okay.
So you're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. I don't want to keep you waiting around if you're, so that was pretty easy.
That was.
We got through the consent agenda. We had a little bit of lag or a little bit of time, so we just went through the consent agenda, which is where it was listed. So, all right.
You did a good job.
Thanks. Take care. So some of Paul Wood's questions about Countryman's contract was the requested that they audit each major fund to include Fair Board, Household Hazardous Waste, Veteran Services, Visitors, Tourism, Hillcrest. There was a question about what major fund, the verbiage used in the contract for major fund, what it means to them, so that you know what you're getting. And Hillcrest is separate, does its own audit.
Hillcrest is audited by Lunson Company out of Grand Island. Steve Blackie is the auditor over there. And he actually majors in healthcare. And since we changed to him about 7 years ago, we got a lot better situation over there. So we don't need Hillcrest. And when I asked Lunson Company with the idea of looking at the county, they did not want to do anything with the county because all they do is healthcare. So they're taken care of.
And then another concern of not per se a concern, but one thing that Paul Wood brought up too was the bottom of page 1 and top of page 2, number 3 and 4. What are the non-major funds? They will give an opinion on these, ask what they means, as opposed to an audit. Again, ask so you know what you're getting and what they will do for whatever major and non-major funds. We're not required to take bids, even though we did, or we attempted to. We did get a couple, because this is a professional service. So I spoke I played phone tag with Jada Thompson, the representative of Countryman. She sent out an email to me. Her response was, major funds are defined under government auditing standards GASB 34. These funds that we will audit will be similar to the funds Don tested, as we both follow the standards under the Government Auditing Standards Board. She replied to me because I sent her Paul Wood's memo that they will not be auditing Hillcrest, and then non-major funds are by default under GASB 34 mentioned above. Those funds of the government that don't qualify as major funds, these are under one column on the fund financial statements labeled non-major, and we'll have a supplementary schedule showing each of the various funds included in the non-major funds. Performing an audit is what allows us to provide an opinion on these funds. So that was their response back to these concerns. I think that it sounds like they're going to follow the same procedures that Don Wilson did.
Yeah. It looks good to me.
I don't really have any. I think that it's going to be, aside from the fact that unfortunately it was wonderful to have Don local, because if we had questions, he was a phone call away and he could meet you up here and sit down with you and discuss that. Unfortunately, that's not our current situation with Don retiring. Again, I think the contract with the two that we did bid, this one was the cheaper of the two for their services. I guess if you guys have anything, if not, I suppose we can approve that contract here today.
Yeah, I could make a motion to have our chairman sign the contract with Countryman Associates for our annual audit.
I'll second it.
I got a motion from Dean and a second from Fritchie to approve the contract with Countryman Associates PC for the auditing services for Red Willow County This is a 2-year agreement. If there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. You got a bunch of everybody's signature on there. All right. Next up on the agenda for 10:15 is zoning administrator Craig Bennett from Miller & Associates memo to the commissioners regarding a conditional use permit.
His person, or his cell number is on there somewhere.
Yeah, which is page 2, or which one is it?
In case you want to yourself.
Talk to him, yeah. So this, some questions came up in regards to a property owned by Terry Sides. Located in Red Willow Precinct 7328, part northwest southeast, 9.93 acres. It's an auto wrecking salvage yard. Some issues that are occurring on the neighboring property to this wrecking yard is the landowner around it is stating that they're having issues with destruction of their property. People are driving through their fields, trying to enter the wrecking yard from a different entrance. They had issues with some of their electric fence being cut, where there was cattle present in the pasture. So we're kind of reviewing the conditional use permit as it was approved, I believe, back in 2012, and some of the stipulations for the property. There's and basically what this is it's kind of an FYI to the Board of Commissioners. We can essentially direct our zoning administrator, Craig Bennett, to do a closer review of this conditional use permit and see if there's any of the stipulations being violated.
You guys haven't seen Craig's memo because I just got it this morning.
No, but I'm familiar with that site. That's in my district, north of the old high school.
Yeah.
And we did this.
Well, I'm not sure that's the complaint about being a mess. People
No,
are
it's the
cutting the
property.
neighbors' fences to steal parts.
That's what it boils down to, yeah, there.
Does that have in there that they have to have cameras?
If you read it, I spent a little bit of time with Craig on the phone, and it is very wide open to.
I wanted to read, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah, it talks about it can't disturb the adjacent landowners' peace or to their property. There was some discussion possibly about initially, at least when the was brought before the planning and zoning, that he was going to put up a big fence around the whole the perimeter.
Is there anything about cameras, having cameras?
I don't think it does, but yeah. So the concern is the next door neighbor is having them drive, like I said, across their fields. I mean, we have, whether there's crops in the field or not, they're driving through there, and some of it's in weed stubble, and there's a concern of fire. And then here up recently, which I know your office took a report that they cut the fence and there was cattle in the pasture. So it also states in there that all batteries and oil and antifreeze have to be drained from the vehicles prior to them making entry into there.
He was farming it.
So we don't know if the conditions are being met.
Farming it last year, so I don't really know who's.
I did talk to the gentleman that was affected, who owns the ag ground around it, and he stated that he was going to have an additional informal conversation with Mr. Sides to see if there could be something to rectify the situation so that it doesn't have to go to.
Be nice if they work it out.
Right. Yes. Yes. So I don't know.
Can we get this email to us so we can read this? Because I haven't seen it.
That's what she said, it just came this morning. So she wasn't able to email it to you yet because it just came this morning.
Oh, okay.
Well, the
I'm just
memo,
asking,
the other part went to Ted. I guess I assumed it was.
I didn't forward it. I didn't forward it to everybody. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a necessity for it to. I mean, if.
So basically what Craig is asking, if he wants to look into it and see if he's violated a conditional use permit, is that what this letter is saying from Craig?
Basically.
Well then, have him look into it.
So the understanding that I got from Craig is that he was gonna need approval from the Board of Commissioners to go forth and look into that. However, they're trying to reach, I have not heard back from Mr. Myers yet, but he was gonna go talk to Mr. Sides to see if some remedy could be,
So Derek is fine, did it right there then?
all that around it, yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, the other option we have is we can either vote to have Mr. Bennett do further research to see if there's any conditional use permit violations, or we could table the matter and see if Mr. Myers comes to an agreement with Mr. Sides on how things should be handled. I guess that's two options we have.
Well, the application was for an auto wrecking yard.
Yeah, the only thing is the, so if you receive a conditional use permit through the Planning and Zoning Board, but then you don't follow the rules that were set forth, then that creates you're in violation of your conditional use permit if you're not following all the rules of it.
Look, this would be 389, so this would be it'll be 390.
I think that stuff's been going on long enough.
Or that has been for you.
And I think that's the violation around. Yes.
Well, there's been people going in there taking shit at night too. I mean, they're just.
That's why they're driving across the fields and stuff.
Yeah, remember that way. I don't say you put cameras up because it's not a level.
No.
It's this and there's kids and you've got vehicles stacked 3 high. And
So are you looking for a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, and I mean, again, the two things I outlined was, we can either have Craig do further research, or we can, allow for, when I spoke with Mr. Myers, he was hoping to be given a little more time to try to work with Mr. Sides informally to see if something could be rectified. So, in light of that, it's however the board wants to vote or what the board wants to do, but.
Well, let's give Derek a little bit of time. Let's go ahead and table it.
That's what I would say, table, see if they work it out.
Make a motion to table that issue.
I'll second it.
I got a motion from Dean and a second from Fritchie to table the matter in regards to Terry Sides Wrecking Yard located at Road 390 and 718. Do you want to table that indefinitely so we can bring that back?
I'd say indefinitely until we can see if Derek can make any headway on this.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if he did. But
so, okay, fair enough. I got a motion in a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. I said the easiest remedy is just to leave the front gate open.
It's just junk.
Just let them come in.
Let them come in.
Because that way they don't have to drive across somebody else to get in the back. But
One thing we mentioned that we thought they had to have cameras up. That would be really good, for then we got a picture of whoever's doing what.
absolutely. Yep. I agree with you. I just don't know if I'm sure there's technological capabilities.
Well, all they'd have to do is put it on the very west side.
Yeah, just put one in each corner.
People driving in the field but yeah.
It'd be good.
Kids will go down to the east side and walk up there to get their stuff.
Yeah.
They're walking through, not driving through.
Yeah.
Well, at least that. We're not setting fires or cutting fences, hopefully. Oh, all righty. Next item on the agenda is schedule special meeting to appoint the sheriff. I guess, through all this, there's been a lot of discussion of the fact that a primary election does not officially certify somebody as the sheriff until after the general election in November. I guess my opinion of the situation is that instead of a sheriff has to be appointed to occupy the remainder of retired Sheriff Darling's term, and instead of 3 commissioners deciding who that individual would be to occupy the remainder of Sheriff Darling's term, I think that a primary election is a great opportunity to let the voters decide at least who wins the primary. Question has been posed to me of, well, what happens if there's a write-in and that write-in beats the candidate who won the primary? Well, in that case, then whoever won the primary occupies the remainder of Sheriff Darling's term. And then if there were to be a write-in that wins the general, then that person would be sworn in January of 2027, no different than anything else. But I think letting the voters decide is better than 3 men on a board of commissioners. So, my only question is we have the 45-day window since we accepted Kevin Darling's resignation on April 13th. Was that our last meeting?
Yes.
April 13th. So we have 45 days from April 13th to, by statute, to select the next sheriff or to appoint the next sheriff to finish retired Kevin Darling's term. The only question I have is, and this would be a question for the election commissioner.
Yes.
If it is a tight race or a race that there's a possibility or a want of a recount to be paid by that candidate, what's the time frame on a recount vote?
I would have to look at the statutes, but I was going to suggest.
Okay.
Can you wait until the 26th? That would give us time to finalize the election, perform any recount if there is one. The 26th is a regular meeting. And from what I can tell, It does fall within 45 days.
The 26th or 25th, Penny.
Memorial Day is the
Certify
25th.
the election by you canvass it all
25th is a holiday.
and certify it.
Do
Sorry.
we certify the election? No.
Do they do any canvassing? Canvasses, I'm just asking,
No,
I'm
you're fine.
not sure. In Kansas, the commissioners actually canvass the ballots. And then they don't do that. Okay, I wasn't sure, so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that'd be a good date after they canvass and certify it, so.
My only concern is, and that's what Penny has brought up, is that if it's a close contested race and one of the candidates wants to have a recount performed, we don't want to do it so close after May 12th that then there's that, and we appoint the winner that we believe to be the winner, and then it's not certified, and then we do a recount, we find out it's something different, and then we have a whole new set of
My
problems. So
canvas board doesn't even meet until the 20th, because we have to wait with the new photo ID laws. We have to wait a certain amount for people to bring those in and then provide them at the polls.
polls. So our clerk and election commissioners suggest May 26th be the day that we.
You have to meet them anyway for payroll.
Right.
And you don't have to do it at that time. It's not a special meeting. So
Then at that time, you don't have to schedule it.
basically, if something happened that you can't, it's basically if you interviewed and hired, it's just whenever you make that decision.
Right.
Is when you do the appointment.
Yeah.
So it's basically, instead of doing the interviewing and hiring, you're letting the elections do that, so.
Right.
I don't, with recounts and having to do that, it's usually 5 days, you know.
It is in
pretty
Nebraska.
short.
It is in Nebraska.
Within 5 days of the canvas.
5 days of the canvas.
So then that would put us at the 25th.
Which is Memorial Day, so 26th would be the next day.
Any thoughts on when you guys would like to do that? Do you want to hold a special meeting in between then?
I do.
I mean, it's probably, if it's a wide enough margin, it's probably not much of a concern. It's just whether this comes down to 3 or 4 votes.
If it comes down to that, then we'll table it. That
How
special meeting.
far in advance do you have to give notice for a special meeting?
Oh, 4 days.
Okay.
It's not.
So, I guess that's still wouldn't be, it wouldn't have to be on Monday either.
No, it would not.
I was gonna say, I mean, just to say you guys' time and stuff, I was just looking, if you waited till, the count was in Tuesday night or, Wednesday, the 13th, and then, this is the 11th, the 12th, right? Wait until the 13th, and then a special meeting was needed, if the count was wide enough, that it was clear, then you could still have time to, hold a special meeting that next week before before the campus board meeting.
And I'm fine with however you want it. I'm fine with, I see both I see both things. But if it's a tight race, even if we have it prior to the campus meeting, we would probably have to table it because I don't want to make a decision and then have a recount performed and find out different. That's just my opinion. Do you guys have any?
Just that week, the 25th. On the 26th, I have 4 county meetings to go to.
Well, it's already a board meeting on that day.
No, I understand that.
So that, wouldn't it be held during the regular board meeting?
Yes, it would.
That's our change of date, isn't it?
Just
Yeah.
just a busy week.
Because our first meeting is the 11th, right?
That's fine. All right, I'm gonna make a motion for a special meeting on the 14th of May.
Just for that moment.
Just that one thing is what your guys' motion is.
Special meeting, 14th.
I have a motion from Dean and a second from Fritchie to hold a special meeting on May 14th exclusively for the appointment of our Red Willow County Sheriff to occupy the remainder of retired Kevin Darling's term.
What time?
What time would you guys like to meet?
Make it early.
Huh?
Make it the same time, 8:30. Is that right?
For 8:30 a.m.
What? What did you just say?
What?
8:30.
8:30
a.m.
Oh, that's at 3.
If they're,
8:30 a.m. Be ready.
I guess I'll have to be.
are you good with it? I mean, I know that your initial thought was the 26th.
We'll do it however everybody wants to do it.
If there's no further discussion, the other consideration is we do have that motion in second. So, all right, if there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Hopefully we'll have a better idea. I hope Penny is going to be without sleep. All right. We'll move on to reports. We've already covered the consent agenda. We have one report being the Sheriff's Office report. Total brought in is $1,613.27.
Yeah. A lot of names on
Are these fees for these delivering papers and stuff, is this set by the state, or can we change it? Can we set these fees that we charge to deliver warrants and things like that, or is it all set by the state?
By policies.
Our policy or the state?
I'd have to double check that.
Okay.
Maybe it should be higher or lower.
They should be higher.
Yeah, I kind of agree with it.
I think I mentioned that to Deb the other day, because she said somebody had been questioning, or had said, well, Lincoln County charges.
A lot more, yeah.
They said,
I'd
well, the
say
only thing
thing-
you would be is to have to double check and make sure it's not set by the state before you can increase any of those fees, otherwise.
That's what I'm asking.
Say we would, yeah.
I'll check in.
So yeah, I did talk to Deb a little bit about it.
All right. And the next up on our agenda is the quarterly jail inspection. So we will not adjourn this meeting. We'll stay in meeting and we'll go do our jail inspection, and then we'll adjourn after we're completed with that. So.
Judge Lehman, move to motion and do second. That's how we do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask real quick, just to verify, cameras are not allowed in the jail. And so that is why I turn this off at this point. So people who are watching, that's why they don't get to go along